Hello, you are welcome. The question here says, an object is projected into the air with a velocity of 50 meters per second. If the maximum height attained is 31.25 meters, calculate the angle of projection and B, the time of flight. And we are given acceleration due to gravity as 10 meters per second square. Now, for us to solve this, as usual, I would like us to state the given parameters. That's the quantities that were given in the question. Now, the question says that an object projected with velocity of 50 meters per second, that is the initial velocity u, is equal to 50 meters per second. And then we are told that the maximum height attained is 31.25 meters. That is the highest height attained. That is h maximum. So the highest height is 31.25 meters. Don't forget, we are given the acceleration due to gravity. G is equal to 10 meters per second square. And then finally, we have to find the angle of projection, which is theta. So theta is equal to question mark. That is exactly what we are looking for. Now, you agree with me that there's a formula for maximum height of a projectile. So let's take down that formula. H, which is the maximum height of a projectile, is given by u sine theta all squared divided by 2g. So this is the formula for the maximum height attained by a projectile. That is a body that is projected at an angle. So now, let's substitute value so that we can get the value of the angle. So we are given the maximum height as 31.25. So 31.25 is equal to, the value of u is 50. 50 sine theta. We don't know the value of theta. That is what we are looking for. All squared multiplied by 2 times 10. Acceleration due to gravity is 10 meters per second square. Now, let's simplify further so that I can find the angle. So if I cross multiply now, you don't forget this is like over 1 here. So 50 sine theta square multiplied by 1 will still give me 50 sine theta all squared. And that will be equal to 2 times 10, that is 20, multiplied by 31.25. 31.25. Now, going further, I can simply take the square root of both sides. So, taking the square root of this side now, because I want to eliminate this square here, this square will remove the square root sign. So I'm left with what is inside the square root sign, which is 50 sine theta. And that will be equal to taking the square root of this side too, which is the square root of 20 multiplied by this is going to give me 625. 625. So I can move on from there and say 50 sine theta is equal to the square root of 625 is 25. So to get the value of sine theta, I can simply divide both sides by 50. And then also divide this by 50. So that 50 will cancel 50 and I'm left with sine theta. 25 divided by 50 will give me 0.5. 0.5. So now, once you have sine theta is equal to 0.5, for you to get the angle, don't forget the rule that has to be applied there. So the angle theta will be equal to this sine inverse. So you take the sine inverse, which is sine raised to power minus 1 of 0.5. So that is how to solve this part. Because some students, when they get to this point, they might not know how to find the angle. So you simply say the angle theta is equal to the sine inverse, that is sine raised to power minus 1 of this 0.5 here. And from your calculator, you have the sine inverse on your calculator. If you check the buttons, you see a button that has sine inverse. You might need to press the mode or the second function key to activate the sine inverse in some calculators. So from there, theta will be equal to, by the time we get sine theta from our calculator or from your four-figure table, it's going to give us 30 degrees, because the sine of 30 degrees is what will give you 0.5. So that means the angle of projection is 30 degrees, and that is the solution to the A question. Now, don't forget, we have the second part of the question, which is the B question. It says, find the time of flight. So we have to also calculate the time of flight of this projectile question. So let's apply the formula for time of flight in order to get that. So the formula for time of flight is capital letter T is equal to 2u sine theta all over g. This is the formula for time of flight. T, that is the total time of flight of the motion, the total time that the object was in the air. So substituting values, I have 2 multiplied by, don't forget, the initial velocity in the question is 50. The initial velocity u is 50. Multiplied by the angle now, we just obtain the angle as 30 degrees. So we're going to use the angle now. So sine 30. And then all over, the value of g is 10. This 0 can simply cancel this 0. And so that will give me, let me put it here, that will give me 2 times 5, which is 10, times sine 30 is 0.5. And then that will simplify finally to give us the time of flight. 10 times 0.5 will give me 5 seconds. So the time of flight of the projectile motion is 5 seconds as the final answer. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and share this video so that others can learn from it. And don't forget to join me in my next video. Thank you for watching.